Let's head to the pool today and we visit with the Adelphi Panthers and Jake Chee-A-Tow of the undefeated Adelphi Panthers, by the way. First time in program history, the men's team wins every dual competition it partakes in ahead of the NE10 championship. Jake, welcome. Congrats on the season you guys have had so far.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Tell me what it's been like for you guys to build this program up over the last couple of years.
Well, obviously, as a sophomore, I've been here for, last season and this one. But it's crazy, listening to the older guys on the team and listening and hearing where it started with them and then figuring like being a part of where it is now. Last year when we came, we heard like they had never gotten as nearly as far as we did last year. And then last year, our group came in, and then now this group has come in, and it's been crazy.
Why? What's special about this team?
I think what really is like set it apart from like obviously I was on the team back home and what's not, but um, this group here, everyone pushes against each other, especially in practice, in competition, but everyone's a family. Right? There's everyone gets along really well. Everyone looks out for each other. Everyone pushes like everyone else to be better. And I think that has just really helped the team grow.
When did you know that this could be a special season?
I want to say when we had started to get no like word of like, I would have this would be from like last year, and we started to get note of like who was coming and potential recruits and those kind of things. And then when the season started, we had a time trial back at our own pool. Our coach set it up, and we put down some really quick times in that time trial. I mean, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, everyone put down some pretty quick times. And that was the beginning of the season. We had really not put in any work yet, and people were still putting down some really good times. And I think from that moment, even I surprised myself. And I think from that moment, I thought, you know what, this could be a really good season for us.
In the history of this conference, only two teams have ever won the men's championship, Bentley and Southern Connecticut.
Yeah.
Uh, what would it mean for you guys to make that three, and how do you get that done?
Um, I think it would be, I'd, like completely amazing. First of all, I think it would be over the moon, especially for our coach. Like this is his dream as well as our dream. We'd swim it, but without him, we would not be here. Absolutely. Love Coach Mark. He does everything and more for us. And I think he tells us every day how this is his dream and it should be ours. And honestly, we live that every day. And so it would mean the world.
Tell me about you a little bit. What do you love about being in the pool?
I don't know. I think there's too many things. There's really too many. I love, the feeling of just diving in and, all of the hard work that I've put in during practice and all of the hard work that I have sacrificed, outside and everything. And just to see it pay off, go in every day. And obviously there will be some days, I don't have a great day, but those good days are really what makes it special. And I think for as long as I've known the sport, as long as I've been doing it, I just loved that feeling of racing, of, the companionship. And yes, it's an individual sport, but you could never do it all by yourself. I mean, the team that you create, the teammates that you find, the family that you create, is really special.
You are from the Caribbean, so I feel like the gross generalization would be to say like, oh well, he's been doing water sports all his life because it's there. When did you first start swimming, and how did that become something that was just so important to you?
I think, well, when I first started doing sports, my parents, one of the big things for a lot of Caribbean families back home is like your parents will throw you into every sport. Anything that they can think of, you're doing it, right? And so my parents did the same. I did football, I did tennis, I did a little bit of table tennis. I tried doing a little bit of like I not really water polo, but like I did a little bit of diving here and there, like just anything that I could have tried. They kind of wanted me, and so what I think really led me to swimming is my mom also used to swim. She used to compete for Barbados as well when she was younger, and I don't know, it's just something that drove me to it. You know, I couldn't even tell you realistically. It just so happened that that was where I ended up. And my mom obviously knew a lot about the sport. And so she's always been my number one supporter in everything that I've done. She's been there. She's known when I speak about it, she knows what I'm saying. And I think that is super like refreshing all my life.
Well, you said in there that your mom swam for Barbados also, which implies
Mhm.
that you have swum for Barbados. Tell me
Yeah.
about swimming for the national team, what it means to swim for your country, for that flag. Is there a different feeling and a different vibe when you get in the water that way?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a lot more pressure because obviously there's a lot more people watching. Being on an international stage, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. I know, I remember for the first time I competed at a regional competition, Barbados was hosting it. Um, and it was the first time I'd qualified for a team. It was the first time that I was really swimming with the Barbados team at that kind of level. And I just remember my parents being in the stands, everyone watching from home when it was just like the feeling, it was just so for me, it was just so like invigorating. It was just so exciting to think that, you know, I could have family all across the world and they are able to tune in and watch me swim for my country. It's just the amount of pride that it gives you is, you know, it's like anything else.
What's your future goals when it comes to swimming, potentially for your country?
Like there's a bunch of different competitions that we have like in the Caribbean and then all obviously the international ones like World Aquatics Championships and all of those. Um, and so I've been to a few that we've had hosted in the Caribbean, Curacao being one, CC being one. And those are like Caribbean strictly and then Caribbean, Central America, and those kind of countries. So those are the ones that I've done, and I loved competing with those because I get to see a lot of my friends from other islands and stuff. But then I've also done, I had the opportunity to compete for Barbados at the World Junior World Championships in Peru in 2022. And then I had the privilege of competing for them once again at Short Course World Championship in Australia. And that I actually went by myself. I was the only swimmer on the team at that time. And I think
How is that to be the only guy representing a country?
it really is a lot of pressure because you're kind of like you're holding the flag on your back. Everywhere that you go, you are representing your country. And so everything that you do, all of the actions that you make, all of the image that you present for the world is like you're basically just the sole representative. So it was a lot of pressure, but I think it was a great, great experience going to somewhere like that and even just being alone. Because it teaches you, how to really like be the person that's responsible for your team, for your country, be the person like you don't have people there with you to distract you or to get in your head or to, you're there to do what you have to do and you do it. So it was a really great experience. But as for like what I would want to do, the the goal, the ultimate goal is obviously the Olympics. Being from a smaller nation, we have always been blessed with the opportunity to have what's called universality, right? So Olympics give smaller nations that don't have any A qualifiers, one male and one female spot. And that is decided based on the country's qualifications. And for us, it's whoever has the highest World Aquatics points at the time. And so my ultimate goal is to get to a position where, I'll be eligible for that spot. If times do stay the same and that spot is still eligible. But I really just want to continue going and see where it takes me.
Um, how what do you have to do to get to that spot, by the way? Like when you set it out in your mind, like is that a thing that you look at and you're like, yeah, I can do that?
It it actually isn't super unrealistic. So, you know, as much as um I may not be at that point yet, and to some people it may seem like a super far away point, it's realistically I just need to kind of focus on like what it is that I want. And, you know, I just need to like obviously it's all in long course. So I need to try and find, apart from the yard season that we have here, NCAA's, I need to then try and find long course competitions, maybe following the season, to try and consistently update my times. And I think all of the work that we do here will obviously help to translate there. But I think the biggest thing is just being like on top of myself. And so even though when the season's done, we may not have practiced as rigorously as before, if I really want to reach that goal that I've set in my mind for the future, I need to, work with my coach and just say like, look, this is what I want to achieve later on. And in order to do that, I can't afford to just not do anything. I can't afford to just not think this is what I want to do and I have a plan and I implement it.
That's the long-term picture. Let's talk short-term picture for you. All of that being said, how did you wind up at Adelphi? What was the right fit for you to come be a Panther?
Well, funny story. Mark actually called me, Coach Mark. He called me while I was at school, and I just signed up on NCSA the day before, the college recruiting platform. And I don't ever, and when I say ever, I mean I don't ever answer an international phone call because every time it's always a scam. But something told me, and I don't know what it was, but something told me that I should pick up this one. And so I asked my teacher to step out of class. Probably not, the best thing to have done in the terms of school, but I asked my teacher to step out of class and I answered the phone and there he was. And he wasn't super like it wasn't a super long conversation, but it was very brief and it was, I saw you on NCA. I think you would be a perfect fit for here. And I actually have someone on my team who is from Barbados and has competed for the island. And I said to myself, there's no way. That's not possible. I grew up with everyone that swam for Barbados. I know everyone that swims Barbados. And someone that's close to my age, it's impossible. Turns out it was actually my friend Zachary Taylor that's here on the team. And he had moved from Barbados in 2020 and he'd moved to Europe with his family. And we kind of fell out of touch. And the year before me, he came to Adelphi, fully had no intention of swimming until Mark somehow found his history, saw that he used to swim, and went and spoke to him and said, "Look, I would really like you to be on the team. Why don't you try it?" Zach joined, and he basically used that as a familiarity for me. And then we got back in touch, Zach and I, and we spoke about it, and everything just worked. It worked so well. Mark was such a great help in finding out all of the information I needed. And it just, everything fell into place, and that was it.
It's always amazing because there's never one path for anybody. So I'm always curious to see how those things work themselves out. But Jake, I'm glad it's worked out to this point. I'm glad that you guys have put together the season that you've had. And certainly congratulations as you guys head to the NE10 championships.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.